You can solve for X. You memorized the periodic table. You know the capital of every country in Europe and probably still remember the quadratic formula. You got the good grades, the acceptance letters, maybe even the diploma with honors on it, and yet you have no idea what a credit utilization ratio is. You don't know the difference between a Roth and a traditional retirement account. You've never once been taught what compound interest actually does to a dollar over 30 years. Here's the uncomfortable question nobody asks at graduation. If school was supposed to prepare you for life, why does it feel like it prepared you for everything, except the thing you'll deal with every single day for the rest of your life? Money. Let's start with a number that should bother you more than it does. According to the FINRA Investor Education Foundation, only 34% of American adults can correctly answer 4 out of 5 basic financial literacy questions. Let that sink in. 2 out of 3 adults, many of them college-educated, many of them with jobs that require years of specialized training, fail a basic financial literacy test. This isn't a stupidity problem. This is a systems problem. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Academic intelligence and financial intelligence are not the same skill. They're not even related. One is about memorizing information and solving problems that have a correct answer. The other is about managing uncertainty, delayed gratification, and behavior over time. School trains you for the first, life demands the second, and nobody warned you the switch was coming. Think about the moment it hits people. It's usually around 23 or 24. You've got the degree, you land the job, you get your first real paycheck, and suddenly you're supposed to understand what a 401k match is, how taxes actually get withheld, whether you should pay off debt or invest, what an APR even measures. Nobody taught you this. Not once. Not in 12 years of school and not in 4 more of college. You spent a decade memorizing the causes of World War I, but nobody sat you down and explained what happens if you only pay the minimum on a credit card. Here's where it gets darker. This isn't an accident. It's not that schools forgot. Personal finance is a genuinely difficult subject to teach at scale, and frankly, an educated population that doesn't understand debt, interest, or investing is easier to sell things to. A Champlain College survey found that only 21 states currently require students to take a personal finance course to graduate high school. Fewer than half. So for most of the country, financial illiteracy isn't a personal failure. It's the default setting. You weren't left behind. You were never given the map in the first place. And this is exactly why smart people fall for dumb financial decisions. Intelligence doesn't protect you here. If anything, it can work against you. Highly educated people are often the most overconfident about money, precisely because they're used to being right. They assume that because they were good at chemistry, they'll intuitively be good at investing. They assume the same brain that aced the LSAT will automatically know not to buy a car they can't afford. But financial decisions aren't logic problems. They're emotional ones dressed up as logic problems, and that's a completely different kind of smart. Let's talk about what actually predicts financial success, because it's almost never IQ. Research from behavioral economists consistently points to something called financial self-efficacy. Basically, your belief that you're capable of managing money, combined with habits, not raw intelligence. The person with a decent job and disciplined habits will outsave and outinvest the genius with an inconsistent relationship to money almost every single time. Warren Buffett has said this in different words for decades. Investing isn't about IQ. Once you're above a certain threshold, what matters is temperament. Doctors, lawyers, and engineers go bankrupt. Warehouse workers become millionaires. The degree was never the deciding factor. Here's the part that stings a little. A lot of academically smart people actually have a harder time getting good with money because their whole identity is built around being right. Admitting you don't understand how a mortgage works, or that you've been mismanaging debt for years, means admitting a gap in the one area you've always excelled in. So instead of learning, some people avoid the topic entirely. They outsource the discomfort. They tell themselves finance is boring, or too complicated, or something they'll figure out later. Later rarely comes. And the debt, or the missed investing window, or the lifestyle creep just quietly compounds in the background while they're busy being excellent at everything else. So what actually closes the gap? Not another degree, not more theory, it's exposure and repetition. The same way you got good at math through problem sets, financial literacy comes from doing the actual behaviors, tracking spending until it's automatic, opening a retirement account before you feel ready, reading one real book on personal finance instead of scrolling investing content for entertainment. It's not glamorous, and it's definitely not academic. It's closer to learning to ride a bike than learning calculus. You fall a few times, you adjust, and eventually your body just knows what to do without thinking. Here's the reframe worth sitting with. Being financially illiterate was never a reflection of your intelligence. It was a reflection of a curriculum that decided this particular subject wasn't worth 4 years of your attention. You were taught to analyze Shakespeare and balance chemical equations because those things are measurable and testable. Nobody built a standardized test for will you panic sell your investments during a market crash, or will you finance a car you can't actually afford to impress people who don't care. Those are the tests that actually determine how your life goes, and you walked into them without ever having studied. So if you've ever felt embarrassed that you're 30 years old and still confused about how taxes work, or that you learned what an emergency fund was from a YouTube video instead of a classroom, that's not a personal failure. That's a structural one. The good news is the gap closes fast once you start treating money like a skill instead of a mystery. You don't need to be a genius. You need reps. If this made you rethink what smart actually means, drop a comment on the one financial concept nobody ever explained to you growing up. And if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Being book smart got you the diploma. Being money smart is what actually gets you free.